all around us today. We're in the Liquid Lunch Question Tequila Studios for a wonderful Women Wednesday show. We have the greatest insights from some of the greatest women around, and great things are happening right down the street at the New York Stock Exchange, with Dow feeling some of these geopolitical fears lessened. The president coming out with a very tempered response. I think that makes the markets feel good. Dow's up 200, bumping right up against 29,000, and that's a good sign for us. Not nearly as good a sign as Dr. Luiza Petre joining us in studio today. Dr. Petre, thank you for joining us again. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
This is the season, right? We just passed the season to be jolly, and now it's the season to get the flu. And, you know, the CDC says this could be one of the worst years in history. What do people need to know to prevent themselves from maybe getting the flu? And then what can they do to build their immunities?
The flu season indeed already started earlier this year than usual. And what's different than the other years is that we are seeing more of a strain B rather than strain A of the influenza. And that means we're going to have a longer and more severe flu season. CDC already reported more than 6 million cases and almost 3,000 deaths. I strongly suggest everyone should have a vaccine, and considering it takes about 2 weeks to ramp up that immunity, you should have that vaccine today.
Wow. So you're saying it started earlier this year and it's a different strain. It's a little stronger strain. So people should be concerned. The thing I'm surprised about is you said 6 million cases reported, 3,000 deaths from flu?
And that's underestimated because many people don't seek medical attention, and not all cases get reported.
So how does flu turn into death? Is it like bronchitis that turns into a pneumonia that turns into death?
The flu can affect any healthy person, but most susceptible and at high risk are children and older adults, or those with chronic medical conditions like heart disease. They are high risk of developing complications from the flu, like pneumonia, hospitalizations, and even death.
What about people that host a television show called Liquid Lunch and tend to have a cocktail 5 days a week in the middle of the day, like Frank and I? I mean, I'm concerned about Frank.
I'm on the wagon temporarily, but I am curious about what you said, Doctor, regarding the difference between influenza A and influenza B this year. Why the increase in influenza B cases, and what actually is the difference between flu A and B? Should people root for getting one or over the other?
Most of the flu seasons do have influenza type A strain. The only time when we saw type B was in 1992. And usually type B comes toward the end of the flu season. And seeing it early always predicts a longer and more severe season. But the luckily part, the vaccine this year covers pretty good this strain. So that's why I suggest everyone should get it.
Is it too late if people haven't gotten the flu shot yet? When I got it a few weeks ago, the pharmacist administering it said, you know what, it takes a couple of weeks to build up your immunity. You should have gotten this much earlier. If people haven't gotten the flu shot yet, can they still get it and have it be effective for this flu season?
It takes, as I said, minimum 2 weeks to build that immunity. If you have it too early in the season, like in the summer, you actually lose some of that immune coverage. So actually getting it now, it's a perfect timing if you didn't have it already.
So I know you talked about once before, you know, keeping yourself up on your vitamin C. In the winter, there's not as much sun. Maybe you want to do some vitamin D, but there are some other things that you can eat and keep yourself a little more immune. What are some of those things people can do, Doc?
It's always great to try to boost your immunity naturally. I recommend pumpkin seeds. They're rich in zinc. Zinc is very good in shortening the flu illness. You could have fruits and greens rich in vitamin C. Don't forget about exercise, and as you said, vitamin D in winter months. I also like natural immune booster like garlic, echinacea.
Garlic, onions. Can I eat extra garlic and not exercise? Will that help?
Do you remember the saying, one garlic a day keeps the vampires away?
No, I didn't know that one, but I like it. Dr. Luiza Petre, she's always here for us to give you some tips. Keep yourself happy and healthy so you can tune into Liquid Lunch every day. Doc, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you for
Thank you.
joining us for hour one, but don't go anywhere. We got a heck of a show coming up right after this.